The Mars station Alpha hummed faintly, a mechanical heartbeat beneath the relentless howl of the planet's dust storms. It was 2087, and the outpost clung to the edge of Vies Marineris, a skeletal frame of steel and glass housing 12 souls tasked with studying the red planet's geology and potential for life. Space Marshal Lena Voss stood in the station's airlock, her suit's visor fogging slightly as she stared at the body sprawled across the floor. Dr. Elias Tran, the crew's exobiologist, lay crumpled, his helmet cracked, face frozen in a grimace. Blood pooled beneath him, stark against the gray tiles, a rare sight in a place where every drop of liquid was precious. Lena adjusted her recorder, voice clipped. March 12, 2087, 6:47 station time. Marshal Lena Voss responding to distress call from Mars Station Alpha. One crew member deceased, identified as Dr. Elias Tran. Cause of death unclear, possible suit breach or trauma. Investigation commencing. She knelt, gloved hands hovering over the body. The airlock was sealed, inner door locked, outer door unopened, no trace of the storm outside. Tran's suit was intact save for the helmet, its fracture spiderwebbing from a single impact point. A blunt object? No weapon lay nearby, just a scattering of tools, wrenches, a sample drill, standard for maintenance. Lena's gut tightened. This wasn't an accident. She'd arrived 6 hours earlier on the red horizon, a supply shuttle turned impromptu transport after the station's panicked message. Crew member down, possible foul play. Request immediate assistance. The station's commander, Dr. Mara Kessler, had greeted her with a grim nod, ushering her here while the crew waited in the common room, sealed off per protocol. 12 crew, now 11 suspects, trapped in a tin can 225 million kilometers from Earth. Escape was a fantasy, next shuttle wasn't due for 3 months. Lena tapped her comms. Kessler, I need Tran's last known movements. And unlock the inner door, I'm coming in. Copy. Kessler's voice crackled. Tense but steady. He was on a solo EVA collecting samples near the rim. Logged in at 4 o'clock. Found at 6 o'clock by Patel. Doors opening. The airlock hissed, inner hatch sliding back. Lena stepped into the corridor, peeling off her suit and stowing it in a locker. Kessler waited, a wiry woman in her 50s with gray-streaked hair and eyes that betrayed exhaustion. You've got full access, she said, handing Lena a tablet. Crews accounted for, except Tran, obviously. No one's left since your arrival. Lena scrolled Tran's log. EVA approved 3:45, suit telemetry normal until 4:30, then offline. Who saw him last? Me, Kessler said. Briefed him at 3:30. He was fine, focused, maybe edgy. Said he'd found something odd in the samples. Wouldn't elaborate. Odd how? Lena pressed. Kessler shrugged. He was a perfectionist. Probably microbes he couldn't classify. You'll see his lab notes. Lena nodded, filing it away. She followed Kessler to the common room. A cramped space with bolted tables and a viewport showing Mars's crimson haze. The crew sat in tense silence. 10 faces, a mix of scientists and techs, ages 25 to 60. Dr. Sanjay Patel, geologist, fidgeted with a pen. Engineer Riley Chun stared at the floor. Botanist Aisha Mwangi met Lena's gaze, defiant. The rest ranged from nervous to blank. Marshal Voss, Lena announced, badge glinting under the LEDs. Dr. Tran's dead, and I'm here to find out why. No one leaves the station. No comms off-world without my say. I'll speak to you each starting now. Patel, you found him. Walk me through it. Patel, mid-30s, dark circles under his eyes, cleared his throat. I was up early prepping the rover. Saw the airlock light red. Someone inside. Checked the monitor, saw Tran on the floor. I suited up, went in. He was like that. Didn't touch him, just called Kessler. Time? Lena asked. 6:02, Patel said. Logged it. Lena glanced at the tablet, confirmed. Anyone else up? Chun was in the bay, Patel added, nodding at the engineer. Heard me yell. Chan, a stocky woman with cropped hair, nodded. I was calibrating the solar array. Didn't see Tran. Lena marked them, her mind ticking. Tran's EVA ended early, helmet smashed. No external breach. Someone inside had done this, someone here. She scanned the room again, catching Mwangi's glare, Kessler's tight lips. A tech named Ortiz shifting uncomfortably. Motive was the key, and Tran's odd discovery might be it. I need his lab, Lena said to Kessler. And lock this crew down, no roaming. Kessler complied, herding them to quarters. Tran's lab was a sterile cube, microscopes, sample jars, a terminal blinking with data. Lena pulled his last entry. Sample 47B. Anomalous structure, possible synthetic origin. Need to isolate. Crew mustn't know yet. Synthetic? On Mars? She frowned, cross-checking the sample log. 47B was missing from the rack. A faint noise, metal on metal, jerked her head up. The lab door was ajar, a shadow slipping past. Lena drew her stun pistol, pulse racing. Who's there? No answer. She stepped into the hall, empty but for a dropped wrench, still rocking on the floor. Someone was watching, and they knew she was close. The wrench clattered to a stop in the corridor outside Dr. Elias Tran's lab, its metallic echo swallowed by the Mars station Alpha's hum. Space Marshal Lena Voss gripped her stun pistol, eyes scanning the dim hallway. The shadow was gone, but the dropped tool, smudged with red dust, screamed intent. Someone had been here, listening, maybe tampering. She pocketed the wrench, her mind on Tran's log. Sample 47B. Anomalous structure, possible synthetic origin. Missing from the rack, it was the thread she needed to pull. She returned to the lab, locking the door behind her. Tran's terminal glowed, data frozen mid-analysis. She tapped into the sample file. 47B, collected near the canyon rim, showed carbon traces and a lattice not matching known Martian minerals. Synthetic meant artificial tech, not nature. Had Tran stumbled onto something alien, or worse, human-made and hidden? Lena cross-checked the crew's EVA logs. Tran's last outing was solo, but Patel had been near the rim 2 days prior, Chin the week before. Overlap or coincidence? Her comms crackled. Voss, it's Kessler. Crew's secured. You need anything? Tran's suit telemetry, Lena replied. Full dump from 4 o'clock till it cut out. On it, Kessler said. Lab's got his backups too. Check the drive. Lena found the external drive beneath a stack of sample jars, plugging it into her tablet. Tran's voice log loaded, timestamped 4/12/47, BS not natural. Patterns suggest fabrication, microcircuits, maybe. If I'm right, someone here knows. Confronting tonight. The log cut off abruptly, static hissing. Confronting who? She replayed it, catching a faint background noise, boots on metal, a second presence. Tran wasn't alone out there. The suit data arrived, telemetry flatlined at 4:32, oxygen steady until then. No breach until the helmet cracked, post-return. Lena pictured it. Tran back in the airlock, someone waiting, a blow from behind. The wrench fit dust-caked, heavy enough to shatter visor glass. She bagged it, evidence mounting, but motive eluded her. She headed to the common room, Kessler meeting her with a grim nod. Crew's restless. Patel's asking questions, Chen's shut down. Keep them that way, Lena said, tablet in hand. I'm starting interviews. Patel first. Sanjay Patel sat across from her in a storage closet turned interrogation space, his pen twirling a nervous tick. I told you, he said, voice tight. Found him at 6 o'clock, airlock red. That's it. You were near the rim 2 days ago, Lena countered, eyeing him. Same spot Tran sampled. See anything odd? Patel's pen stopped. Rocks, dust? Nothing special. He was the bio guy. Asked me for core samples, that's all. 47B, Lena said, watching his face. Synthetic structure. Tran thought it was big. You drill anything like that? His eyes flickered, fear or guilt? No, just basalt, iron oxides. He didn't share much, kept to himself. Lena leaned in. He confronted someone that night. You up late. I crashed at 2300 hours, Patel said. Too quick. Ask Chun. She was tinkering all night. Next was Riley Chun, slouched in the chair, arms crossed. Yeah, I was in the bay, she admitted, voice flat. Heard Patel yell, saw the mess. Didn't see Tran come in. You were up at 4 o'clock? Lena asked, checking logs. Solar arrays finicky, Chun said. Takes hours. I don't sleep much. Tran sample 47B. Synthetic. You're the tech? Any guesses? Chen's jaw tightened. Mars is dead. If it's not rock, it's ours. Someone's junk. Or his imagination? Lena marked the deflection. Chen's bay overlooked the airlock. Easy to slip out, strike, slip back. Patel's rim trip nagged too. She needed more. Back in Tran's lab, she dug into the backups video this time. A grainy clip, for 25, showed Tran outside, kneeling by the rim, then a shadow crossing the frame. Booted feet, no suit ID. Someone followed him. Her comms buzzed Kessler urgent. Voss problem. Mwangi's gone. Broke quarantine. Headed for the rover bay. Lena bolted, stun pistol ready. The bay was a cavern of machinery. Rovers dormant under tarps. Aisha Mwangi stood by one, suited up, helmet in hand. Stop! Lena barked, aiming. Back to quarters now. Mwangi turned, eyes blazing. I'm not the killer. Tran found something. Something they'll kill us all for. I'm getting proof. Who's they? Lena demanded, closing in. The crew, Mwangi said, voice low. Or Earth. That sample wasn't Martian, it's a weapon. Tran told me yesterday. A weapon. Lena's grip faltered. Stay put. We talk, no running. Mwangi nodded, reluctant, but a clang rang out. Metal on metal, from the shadows. Lena spun, light catching a figure darting behind a rover. Patel? Chen? The bay's exit sealed shut, locking them in. Someone didn't want this conversation or the truth getting out. The rover bay of Mars Station Alpha was a cold, cavernous tomb, its shadow swallowing the faint hum of machinery. Space Marshal Lena Voss stood with her stun pistol trained on Aisha Mwangi, the botanist's suit glinting under the bay's harsh LEDs. The sealed exit hatch loomed behind them, its lockdown a silent alarm. Someone had tripped it, trapping them inside. The clang of metal still echoed in Lena's ears, a figure vanishing into the maze of rovers and tool racks. Mwangi's words hung heavy. That sample wasn't Martian, it's a weapon. Explain, Lena snapped, keeping Mwangi in her sights while scanning the bay. Now. Mwangi's hands stayed up, helmet dangling. Tran showed me 47B yesterday, tiny circuits, energy signatures. Not natural, not ours. He thought it was a prototype, something dropped here, hidden. Said it could be a bomb, a pulse device. He was scared. Lena's mind raced. A weapon on Mars alien, or Earth-made and buried. Tran's log crew mustn't know yet, made sense if he feared a leak. Who'd he suspect, she asked. Everyone, Mwangi said, voice tight. Me included. He locked it in his lab, said he'd tested alone. Next thing, he's dead. Lena lowered her pistol slightly. Why run now? To check the rim, Mwangi replied. If there's more out there, we're sitting ducks. Someone killed him to keep it quiet. A scrape left side, near a rover. Lena swung her light, catching a glint of metal, a wrench, dropped again. Same as the lab. She motioned Mwangi behind a crate, creeping forward. Show yourself, she called, voice steel. Silence, then footsteps fast, retreating. She gave chase, weaving through the bay's clutter, but the figure ducked into a maintenance hatch, gone. She doubled back to Mwangi, who'd stayed put. That's your killer, the botanist said, eyes wide. They're covering tracks. Or yours, Lena countered, holstering her weapon. Back to quarters, move. Mwangi complied, sullen as Lena hit her comms. Kessler, bay's locked. Override it and get me Patel and Chen. Someone's playing games? Override's jammed, Kessler replied, tense. Manual fix, I'm on it. Crew's still in quarters, but Ortiz says Chin slipped out earlier. Riley Chin. Lena's gut twisted. The engineer had access, motive unclear. She escorted Mwangi back, locking her in, then headed for the control room. Kessler met her, tablet in hand, hair disheveled. Systems hacked, lockdowns deliberate. Chen's not in her room. Trans sample, Lena said. Mwangi claims it's a weapon. Where's the lab key? Kessler paled. Tran had it. If it's gonna check his suit, Lena ordered, sprinting to the airlock. Tran's body lay untouched, blood-dried. She searched his pockets, empty, but a slit in the suit's lining caught her eye. Torn, recent. The key and maybe 47B were missing. Back in the control room, Kessler pulled security feeds. Grainy footage showed Chin near the lab at 5 o'clock, slipping inside, then out minutes later, hands empty. She's got it, Kessler muttered. Or ditched it. Lena rewound further, 4:40, Tran entering the airlock, alive, helmet intact. A shadow followed, too brief to ID, then static. Someone met him, she said. Chen's in the bay now, or was? They forced the bay hatch with a pry bar, Kessler panting. Inside, chaos tools scattered, a rover's panel ajar. Chin lay slumped by a console, alive but groggy, a bruise blooming on her temple. Ambushed, she rasped as Lena knelt. Heard you came to help, someone hit me. Who? Lena demanded, helping her up. Didn't see, Chin said, wincing. Talla fast. They took something small from my kit. Lena's eyes narrowed. 47B? Chin nodded, grim. Tran gave it to me yesterday late. Said to analyze it, keep quiet. It's tech circuits, power cell. Not ours. A weapon hidden on Mars, now loose. Lena's comms buzzed. Patel panicked. Marshal Ortiz is freaking out, says he saw Chen with Tran's key, now she's gone. Lock him down, Lena barked, turning to Kessler. Chen's here, someone's framing her. Where's Ortiz? Quarters, Kessler said, checking the tablet. But he's not responding now. They raced to the crew quarters, finding Ortiz's door ajar. Inside, the tech, a wiry man in his 30s, sat trembling, a knife in hand, Tran's lab key on the table. I didn't do it, he stammered as Lena aimed her pistol. Found this in my bunk, someone planted it. Drop the knife, Lena ordered, advancing. Ortiz complied, hands shaking. Who planted it? I don't know, he cried. I was asleep, woke up, it was there. Patel was up, pacing, ask him. Lena cuffed Ortiz, mind spinning. Patel, Chin, Mwangi, Ortiz, all tangled, all pointing fingers. The sample was gone, a killer loose, and the station's walls felt tighter. She needed Tran's attacker fast before the weapon surfaced or the next body did. The crew quarters of Mars Station Alpha were a claustrophobic warren, the air thick with tension as Space Marshal Lena Voss stood over Javier Ortiz, his wrists cuffed, Tran's lab key glinting on the table. The tech's wide eyes and trembling hands screamed fear, not guilt, but the planted evidence pointed a finger, one Lena couldn't trust yet. Riley Chin slumped nearby, rubbing her bruised temple while Commander Kessler sealed the door, her face a mask of strain. The missing sample 47B, a potential weapon, was out there and the killer was tightening the noose. Patel was up, Ortiz repeated, voice cracking. I heard him pacing 3 o'clock, maybe later. He could have slipped this in. Lena's gaze hardened. You're sure? I don't sleep deep, Ortiz said. Mars gets to you, every creek's a ghost. She turned to Kessler. Get Patel. Now. Kessler nodded, stepping out as Lena faced Chin. You had 47B. Why hide it? Chen's jaw clenched. Tran begged me, said it was dangerous, off books. I ran scans, microcircuits, energy spikes. It's a pulse emitter, small but nasty. Could fry our systems or us? Whose tech? Lena pressed. Not ours, Chin said. Too advanced, Earth's got nothing like it. Tran thought it was planted, a test gone wrong. Lena filed it. Alien or covert, it spelled trouble. Kessler returned with Sanjay Patel, his pen-twirling absent, face pale. Ortiz says you were up, Lena said, watching him. 3 o'clock, Trans EVA. Where were you? Patel swallowed. Couldn't sleep, geology reports. I was in my bunk, not roaming. Anyone vouch? She asked. He hesitated. Mwangi. She was up too in the galley. Ask her. Lena's comms buzzed. Aisha Mwangi, patched through. Patel's half right, Mwangi said, voice sharp. I saw him at 3:30, grabbing water. He looked wired, kept muttering about Tran samples. Wired how? Lena asked. Scared, Mwangi said. Said Tran was poking something he shouldn't. Lena cut the line, turning to Patel. Tran confronted someone, logged it. You? No. Patel snapped, stepping back. I drilled for him rocks, that's it. He was paranoid. Kept secrets. 47 BS no rock, Lena said, leaning in. You were near the rim. What did you find? Patel's eyes darted. Nothing, basalt, dust. He took the weird stuff himself. Lena let him stew, shifting to Chun. You saw Tran yesterday. What did he say? He was spooked, Chin admitted. Kept asking about off-world signals. Thought Earth was watching. Gave me 47B. Said to hide it. Signals? Lena checked Tran's terminal logs. Encrypted pings, outgoing, time-stamped 3 o'clock daily for a week. Not to Earth command, coordinates unknown. She cracked one. 47B confirmed. Extraction critical. Silence crew. Sent hours before his death. Tran was talking to someone, Lena told Kessler, showing the tablet. Not us. Kessler's brow furrowed. Saboteur? Or a mole? Or both, Lena said. Someone here knew. Killed him to stop it. She uncuffed Ortiz, keeping the key. You're clear for now. Kessler, lock them all down, separate. I'm hitting the rim. Alone? Kessler asked, alarmed. Dust storms brewing. 47 BS out there, Lena said, suiting up. If it's a weapon, I need proof. The EVA was brutal, red dust lashed her visor, wind howling. She traced Tran's path to the canyon rim, GPS pinging his last sample site. Kneeling, she swept her scanner. Nothing, then a faint blip. Buried under a rock, a shard gleamed circuits like Chun described. Another 47B fragment. She bagged it, heart pounding. Planted tech, a network of it. Back at the airlock, her comms crackled. Kessler. Frantic. Voss, get in, systems glitching. Lights? Comms. Someone's overriding. Lena cycled through, ripping off her helmet. The station flickered, power surging. She sprinted to the control room, finding Kessler at the console, screens flashing red. Pulse interference, Kessler said. It's 47B, active. Where? Lena demanded. Bay, Kessler said, pulling feeds. A figure moved there, suited, hooded, tampering with a rover. Patel? No, too tall. The screen died, static swallowing it. Lena grabbed her pistol, racing to the bay. The hatch was forced, rover lights on. A device blinked on the floor. 47B, rigged, humming. The figure spun, Mwangi, visor up, eyes wild. Stay back, she shouted, holding a detonator. This ends now. You, Lena said, aiming. Trans killer. No, Mwangi cried. He found their trap. I'm stopping it. Earth wants us dead. This proves it. The hum grew, pulse imminent. Lena had seconds to choose, shoot or trust. The rover bay of Mars Station Alpha vibrated with the low hum of the rigged 47B device, its circuits glowing an eerie blue against the steel floor. Space Marshal Lena Voss held her stun pistol steady, aimed at Aisha Mwangi, whose suited figure loomed in the dim light. The botanist clutched a detonator, her visor up, face a mask of defiance and desperation. Dust from Lena's EVA still clung to her boots, the shard of 47B she'd found at the rim heavy in her pouch. Mwangi's words, Earth wants us dead. This proves it, rang in the air, a wild claim Lena couldn't dismiss. Drop it, Lena ordered, voice cutting through the hum. Now, Mwangi's grip tightened, thumb hovering over the trigger. You don't get it, Voss. Tran died for this, they're erasing us. That pulse fries the station. Life support, comms, all of it. Who's they? Lena asked, stepping closer, pistol unwavering. Talk fast. Earth Command or whoever's pulling strings, Mwangi said, eyes darting. Tran caught their signals, orders to plant these, test them. He wouldn't play along. Lena's mind flashed to Tran's encrypted pings. Extraction critical. Silence crew. You've got proof. His logs, Mwangi said. I cracked more, coordinates match a black site orbiter, not command. This isn't science, it's a kill switch. The hum spiked, lights flickering. Lena glanced at 47B, wires jury-rigged, a timer blinking, 047. Why kill him then? She pressed, stalling. You're in this. No, Mwangi snapped. I found him too late. Someone else did it, framed me. I took this to destroy it. Rim's the only safe spot. Lena weighed it. Mwangi's panic felt real, but killers lied. The shard in her pouch matched Chen's description. Pulse tech, lethal potential. Lower it, she said. We disarm, I check your story. Move wrong, you're down. Mwangi hesitated, then dropped the detonator. Hands up. Lena kicked it aside, lunging for 47B. She yanked wires, the hum dying as the timer froze at 012. Silence fell, heavy. Mwangi slumped against the rover, breathing hard. Check the orbiter logs, she said. Trans terminal now. Lena cuffed her to a rail, comms buzzing. Kessler, bays secure. Get me trans terminal, full access. On it, Kessler replied, voice strained. Power stabilizing. Chen's awake, asking for you. Keep her there, Lena said, dragging Mwangi to the control room. Kessler waited, tablet ready, Chun hobbling in, bruise darkening. Lena plugged into trans data, pulling the orbiter pings. Mwangi was right. Coordinates traced a ghost satellite. No command ID. Messages coded. Deploy 47B network. Eliminate exposure. Sent 3 o'clock. Day of trans death. Black Ops, Kessler muttered, pale. They're scrubbing us? Looks it, Lena said, uncuffing Mwangi. Who knew? Tran told me, Chen said, grim. I hid 47B, thought he was paranoid. Someone took it from my kit. Patel, Mwangi cut in. He was up, saw him near the lab after Tran's EVA. Lena stormed to quarters, banging on Patel's door. He opened, bleary-eyed. What now? You were at the lab, Lena accused, shoving him in. For a clock, Trans key 47B. Where is it? Patel stammered, I didn't. I checked his logs, geology stuff. He was alive. Someone wasn't, Lena said, searching his bunk. Under the mattress, a comms chip, non-standard, blinking. She cracked it open, audio, trans onto us. Airlock for 30. Clean. Patel's voice, time-stamped. You bastard, Lena growled, cuffing him. Why? Patel crumpled. They promised promotion, Earth return. Said it was a test, not murder. I hit his helmet, didn't mean to kill him. Who's they? Lena demanded, shaking him. Orbiter Anonymous, he sobbed. I planted 47BS rim, bae. Thought it was surveillance. Lena dragged him to the control room, crew assembling Ortiz, Chin, Mwangi, Kessler. Patel's our killer, she announced, shoving him down. Black Site Op 47, BS a wipeout. He's their mole. More out there, Mwangi warned. Rims littered, I saw fragments. Lena checked the shards, same tech, dormant. We've got one active, Chin said. Bay's clear, but the network's live. A jolt rocked the station, lights died, then rebooted red. Kessler's tablet screamed, external pulse, rim origin. They're triggering it, she shouted. Lena grabbed her suit. Mwangi, Chin, EVA with me. Kessler, lock Patel, Ortiz down. We killed that network now. They suited up, the station shuddering. Outside, dust swirled, the rim a haze of red. Lena's scanner pinged 347 BS, buried, pulsing. Time was bleeding out and Earth, or something darker, was watching. The Martian dust storm raged around Mars Station Alpha, a crimson shroud that battered Lena Voss's suit as she led Aisha Mwangi and Riley Chin toward the VS Marineris rim. The station trembled behind them, its systems flickering under the pulse of the 47B network, 3 devices buried in the red soil, their synthetic hum a death knell. Space Marshal Lena Voss gripped her scanner, its pings cutting through the howl, 3 targets, 50 meters out, active and synced. Sanjay Patel's confession, I planted them, burned in her mind, a black site plot to erase the crew now in motion. Spread out, Lena barked over comms, visor fogging. Mwangi, left flank. Chun, right? Find them, pull the cores fast. Mwangi nodded, her botanist's precision turned to survival. Got it. Signals strong, 10 meters. Chin grunted assent, hefting a pry tool, her engineer's hands steady despite the bruise on her temple. The station's red emergency lights pulsed in the distance, Kessler's voice crackling. Voss, powers at 40%. 15 minutes till shutdown, move. Lena trudged forward, boots sinking in dust, scanner locked on the central 47B. The shard from her pouch matched circuits, power cells, alien or covert tech meant to fry the station's lifeblood. Tran's death was the spark, Patel's panicked blow in the airlock, a mole's mistake escalating a silent purge. She knelt, digging, and unearthed a blinking cylinder, wires pulsing blue, a timer at 12 minutes and 47 seconds. Found mine, she said, ripping into it with her multi-tool. Cores are red, pull those. On it, Chin replied, grunting as she pried hers free. This one's live, damn, it's hot. Mwangi's voice cut and strained. Mine's buried deep, got it. Cores out, pulse stopped. Lena yanked her core, the hum dying, but the ground shuddered, a secondary wave. Scanners picking up a fourth, she said, pivoting. Deeper, rim edge 200 meters. No time. Kessler shouted. Systems crashing, oxygen's next. We've got to, Lena snapped, sprinting with Mwangi and Chen trailing. The fourth 47B was a beast. Half buried under a boulder, its signal erratic, timer at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. Chun, leverage Mwangi, help me dig. They worked in sync, Chun wedging the rock as Mwangi clawed dust. Lena exposing the device. Larger, armored, a master node. This runs the network, Chun said, breathless. Kill it, we're clear. Lena sliced into it, wires sparking. but a comms ping froze her. Unknown source, orbiter coded. Cease interference. Compliance ensures survival. Earth's shadow watching. She ignored it, pulling the core as the timer hit 47 seconds. The pulse flatlined, the station's tremor easing. Done, Lena gasped, collapsing back. Kessler, status? Powers climbing, Kessler replied, relief palpable. You did it, oxygen's holding. They staggered to the airlock, suits caked in red, cycling in to find Kessler waiting, Ortiz uncuffed beside her. Patel's locked tight, Kessler said. He's babbling, says the orbiter promised evacuation. Evacuation's a lie, Lena said, peeling off her helmet. Wipeout was the plan. 47 BS prove it. She pulled trans-terminal, cracking the last ping. Exposure contained. Terminate. Sent post-murder pre-pulse. Mwangi sank into a chair. Who's behind it? Black site, Lena said, grim. Earth's got rogue factions. Tech 2 advanced for command. Tran found their test ground, us. Chin scowled. They'll try again. Not if I broadcast this, Lena said, uploading translogs, 47B scans, and Patel's confession to an open channel, earthbound, unencrypted. Let them squirm. Public's their leash. Ortiz stared, pale. We're targets now. Better than dead. Mwangi shot back, a faint smile breaking. Lena secured the shard, evidence for command, if they weren't complicit. The station steadied, dust storm fading, but the orbiter's silence loomed. 3 months till rescue, a crew of 11 left to watch the skies. She locked Patel in a storage cell, his sobs muted, then faced the team. Trans killers down, she said. But 47, BS origin, alien, human, whatever, means we're not safe. Stay sharp. Kessler nodded, weary. What's next, Marshal? Survive, Lena said, gazing at Mars's red haze. And dig. If there's more out there, we find it first. The station hummed on, a fragile bubble against the void. Lena stowed her pistol, the mystery solved, but the war just begun. Earth's shadow stretched long and Mars held its breath,